Hi guys, this is the video tutorial for the problem 1294C, product of three numbers. This problem occurred in Code Forces round 615 div 3. Now what is happening here is that we are given a number n and we're supposed to find three distinct integers a, b and c such that all of them are either greater than or equal to 2 and their product is equal to n. We have to find if there are three such numbers, and if there are, we have to print them, or we have to simply print that it is impossible to find those numbers. So let's take an example. Let's say that we have the number 48. We can write 48 as 2 times 6 times 4. And as you can see that these three numbers, all of them are distinct and all of them are greater than or equal to 2. Now what you can observe here is that 48 is the product of three of its divisors, right? And each of these divisors has some particular prime factorization. So 2 can be written as 2 power 1, 6 can be written as 2 power 1 times 3 power 1, and 4 can be written as 2 squared. So, and this is n and this is a, b and c. So for this particular problem, we require the prime factorization of n. So that's basically the crux of this problem. And after this, this problem is a matter of implementation. So I won't be showing the whole code, but I'll be putting up the link to my code in the description below, so you can check that out. So let's just simply see the code for getting the prime factorization of any particular number n. We can do that in order of root n time. Let's see how. So here I've opened VS Code, and this is the function which returns a map of int and int. So what the first number stores is that is a particular number in the prime factorization, and the second number stores the frequency of it. So what we do is that we simply first start dividing by 2, and we store 2 how many times it occurs. Then after that we skip all the even numbers and we divide by all the odd numbers, and we go till square root n, since that is the largest number that can divide n. And finally, if n is a prime which is greater than 2, we increase its count and then we return the map. So this is the piece of code that we require to get the whole complete prime factorization of this particular number. Now let's consider the worst case. Let's say that there is some number n which is of the form let's say d power k. What I'm saying here is that d is its only prime factorization. So this is edge case 1. This is edge case 1, and we have this number n which is equals to d power k. Now what should be k here? What should be the minimum value of k? Now if you think about it, the best way to split this is that what we can do is, since we cannot have a 1, what is the minimum number that we can have? The minimum number we can have is d. What is the second minimum number we can have? What the second minimum number we can have is d squared. What is the next minimum number we can have? The next minimum we can have is d cube, right? So this gives us n is d power 6. So the combined power of k, of the combined power of all these numbers, this will be a, this will be our a, this will be our b, this will be our c. This has to be at least 6. So if this is 6, we can always find a particular splitting of n into a, b and c such that all of them are greater than or equal to 2, right? Now let's consider edge case 2. After this edge case, it becomes a very trivial problem. Let's consider edge case 2. Now let's say that we have just 2 prime factors. Say n is of the form a power something, let's say a power L1, and it is of the form b power L2. Now what you can notice here by observation is that L1 plus L2, that is the combined power, it has to be at least 4. Why? Let's see how. Let's say that if L1 plus L2 is 3, right? If L1 plus L2 is 3, then the only possible combination is that it can be either 1, 2, or it can be 2, 1. It's basically the same thing. So the only possible splitting we have is that we have n as a power 1 and b square. Notice that since we are getting the prime factorization, neither of the powers can be 0. They have to be at least equal to 1, right? So the possible splitting of n in this case is equals to, it can be either AB times b times 1, or it can be a times b square times 1. So in either of the cases you are getting a 1. So you need one more power, or say one more number, to get rid of this one. That's why we observe that the minimum combined power should be at least greater than or equal to 4. Right. And once you have the prime factorization, it's really easy to get all these numbers. Let's go ahead and check for the final case. Now let's just say that you have at least 3 prime factors, and in this case it's pretty trivial. Let's say that n is of the form some a power l1, some b power l2, and some c power l3. Let's say that we have three prime factors. We can simply say that this is my a, this is my b, and this is my c. And if there's more than 3 prime factors, say n is of the form a power something, b power something, c power something, and d power something, what we can simply do is that we can say that this is my first number, this is my second number, and all of this product combined is my third number. Right. So I think we've seen all the cases where first of all we had edge case 1. Since we had only 1 prime factor, we required the minimum combined power to be 6. For edge case 2, we required the minimum combined power to be 4. And for edge case 3, it's pretty trivial. Just take the first two complete powers as the first two numbers, and take the rest of the numbers as your third number, and you will reach the final answer. So this was it for this video. Thanks for watching.